Good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Minute Meditation. Would you describe yourself as an honest individual? Honesty is a priceless commodity and is a commodity rarely seen in the culture that we live in. We live in a dog-eat-dog world, and everyone seems to be starving to death. In the book of 2 Corinthians chapter number 8 and verse 21, the Apostle Paul said, providing for things honest in the sight of the Lord. But then he also said this, not only in the sight of the Lord, but also in the sight of men. In other words, the child of God ought to exhibit in the culture and community that he or she is living in the fact that their Christianity has made them an honest individual. I grew up with a dad that was an extremely honest individual. And he made this statement to me as a child. He said, son, you don't take change out of a drink machine or out of a telephone booth if it's not yours. I was reared that way. The other day while I was in Walmart, I looked in the change drawer there at the self-checkout, and there was a handful of change laying there. I pulled it out and laid it up on top of the machine, and I told the lady that was watching the machines, I said, ma'am, my dad would tear my hide up if he caught me stealing this change. I'm going to lay it here. If you want it, it's yours. That has been drilled into me from the time that I was a child. Honesty is something that must be exhibited by any man or woman of integrity. That brings me to our next verse. In Proverbs 11 verse 3 said, the integrity of the upright shall guide them. In other words, if you want to go in the right direction, and if you want to not be lost in this life, develop integrity because it will carry you from start to finish. In the 1980s, there was an armored truck that wrecked on the highway outside of Columbus, Ohio, spilling $2 million in cash. By the end of the whole ordeal, only $400,000 in cash was returned. People stopped their cars, gathered cash, stuffed it in their pocketbooks and in their pockets, and drove away with this cash that simply wasn't theirs. One man by the name of Melvin Kaiser took back to the armored car company $57,000 that he had helped to gather up off of the freeway. He was the only individual on record that returned money that they had taken. Most just stuffed it in their pockets, jumped in their cars, and drove away thinking that they had had a great windfall of a day. Studies have shown that if I know you and I have found something that you've lost, I'll return it. But according to the survey, 75% of those who find money or anything else that's not theirs, if they don't know the individual, are not apt to return it. I saw a video the other day that was funny, but yet at the same time, it kind of gives us the idea of who we are as a society. The man said in the video that he saw a woman standing in the checkout line, weeping and crying. When he walked up to her, he said, ma'am, what's wrong? And she said, I've lost $200. He said, me being me, I reached into my pocket and pulled out $50 of the $200 that I had just found laying on the floor and gave it to her to be a blessing. He said, always remember, when God's been a blessing to you, you need to be a blessing to others. Hey, think on these things today and commit yourself to being honest. God bless you, friend. Have a great day.